Hello and welcome to Tea with the Druid 277. I'm Philip Carr-Gomm and Tea with the Druid is brought to you by the Order of Bards Ovates Druids. This session has actually been pre-recorded 2 weeks before it's actually going out, because at the time this goes out, I will be in a little Druid village in Wales, in Carr-Gomm, in Snowdonia, a wonderful spot. And so I won't be able to do this. I can't do this live. So I pre-recorded it with our mystery guest. And our mystery guest is no longer going to be a mystery, because I'm going to press the button and bring her in. And there she is, Maria Eade Weaving, a published author, a wonderful person. And hello, Maria. Oh, I've muted you. Hang on, I've unmute you. Hello, Maria.
Am I unmuted? Hello, thank you for having me.
Pleasure. It's lovely to see you. And how long have we been working together? I always forget. Feels like decades.
Ooh, I think this is our 13th year.
Wow.
Possibly 14th, yes.
Oh gosh, isn't that incredible?
A long time.
A long time. Maria is the savior of my blog. I started a blog, and after about a year, I was finding it a bit of a chore, and my finger was hovering over the delete button when I got a lovely comment on one of my posts from somebody called Maria, and I thought, oh, what a lovely response! If this is what comes through doing a blog, this is great. And then I was giving a talk in a pub in Portsmouth, wasn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, we met, and and Maria's been my PA, and I am so delighted, because I've always been impressed by the way Maria writes. And how long have you been doing your blog, the Druid Thurible?
Oh gosh, I think I probably started it around the time I started working for you, so it's got to be 13 years as well. But it's not had a lot of love and attention over the last kind of few years. I had a real intense period of writing, but I still write. Yeah, not so much on the blog these days, but yeah.
Yes, and articles of yours are in the OBOD library as well, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rituals in there as well. Yeah,
and rituals as well, exactly. And in fact, I think these some suggested solo rituals we have on the OBOD site, you've actually put together, haven't you?
That's right. Yeah.
So, and so it's with incredible delight that I've seen that you've had a book published. We both got copies. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm really pleased. It's really good in my hands. I've only had it in my hands for about 2 days. It only came through the post a couple of days ago. So my wee book.
Yeah. And Maria, I was in the office yesterday, and they had sold out of your book.
No, that's lovely.
Yeah, it's good to know, isn't it? I'll put the link to it, with this broadcast and on the blog entry for it as well. And tell me the story. How did you get to write this? Because a lot of writers find it terribly hard to get books published. And here you are with a lovely hardback book. How did that happen?
Well, it was a surprise to me. I just received a message on Instagram, a private message from a lady asking me if I would like to write this book. And I actually thought it was a scam. So I wasn't going to reply to the message. I thought this is just some kind of scam. And it was just my partner Steve said, you really ought to reply. So I did. And it turned out not to be a scam. And so, it was lovely to be given the opportunity to do it. So, yes, I'm very grateful for that.
Isn't that lovely? And
Mm.
isn't that interesting how we've all become so sensitized to scams?
Yeah,
That sort of
absolutely.
that reaction, 10 years ago, you would never think of that. If somebody approached you to write a book, you'd never think it. But I totally get what you mean. And
I think it's about the surprise that something will just cut. I think it's a moment of grace. And I think we're so used to that idea of having to struggle for things. I think particularly with kind of anything sort of creative or artistic, we always feel like we've got to be starving in our attic and really work for it. And so it's quite weird for it suddenly to appear. I wasn't thinking about it, it just appeared. So it really did feel like a moment of grace.
really a moment of grace and good luck as well, because as you know, because you see lots of the emails that come into me, and so many people struggle to get published. It's very hard to get published. And there's a huge element of what you might call grace, you might call luck, that comes. I know the first book I did, I just met a commissioning editor at a dinner party, and she rang me up the next day and said, would you like to write a book? And that's how my first book came about, and that's just incredibly lucky. And I'm so glad. And the reason she sent you that message on Instagram was because she'd read your blog, liked your writing in the blog. So it's another interesting example of how, if you're writing, just put your writing out there, and something like this might happen. You might get picked up by somebody who reads it online. That's lovely. And so it's called The Essential Book of Druidry. And what I think you've managed to do really well in it is, when you're writing a short book and a basic introductory book, the really hard task is what not to say. Because as I was reading it, I was saying, "Oh, that's clever. She doesn't mention that there, and she doesn't," because you can't, because you confuse the beginner or the person starting out at the wanting an introduction, and B, there just simply isn't the space to do it, the time to do it.
Yeah, well, I found it's a bit like anything. It's an introductory, so you think, oh, there's. I mean, you've written 2 really brilliant introductions. I thought, like, have I got anything to add to the conversation? It's like not having that confidence that you have something to add to the conversation, and feeling a little bit freaked out by it, and starting to write and writing reams and thinking this is ridiculous, and even confusing myself. And I just had to pull myself back in and think, well, what would I have liked to have read when I started my journey? I just thought, and just trying to, I don't know, contact the emotional feel of Druidry for me, because I'm a little bit rubbish on the historical stuff, and I suppose that's never really been my focus. So I think if people read the book, it's like it's not my focus. My focus is the experience of it. I think I wanted to give people my experience of it as a starting point, and I thought if I do that, then it will feel genuine and it will feel authentic, because I think we all have our own Druidry, don't we? And there's that kind of saying that there are as many types of Druidry as there are Druids. I think that's really true. I think we're all kind of, as we practice this path, we are kind of adding to the melting pot, and we are creating this path as we practice, all of us together. So I thought, well, that's just, I'm just one voice, and this is my voice, and obviously it will be different for other people, and that's good. That's good, because it's about kind of enriching Druidry, and it's about diversity and all those kind of things. So I stopped panicking, thinking that I had to be all things to all people and say all things to all people about Druidry, and just thought, I'll go from here. This is my path. So so I hope I've done that.
Well, you have, I think, and that explains to me why there's a sort of ease in the writing, and why it gets across. And I love the opening story where you talk about the little wren.
Well, that was my beginning journey into Obod. I mean, I'd kind of hit a bit of a fork in my life, and I was trying to decide whether I was going to take the Obod course or do an Open University MA. And I was really sort of struggling and not really knowing where I should go or what I should do. And I'd seen the Obod website and I was really attracted to it. And I'd read your book, actually it was Druid Craft,
Right.
and felt really attached to it because I'd already, my sort of path into paganism was kind of sort of Wiccan and witchcraft. And so I really enjoyed your book, and I thought I want to explore Obod a little bit, but I wasn't really sure. And then my partner and I had gone to Cornwall for, I think it was just after the solstice, and I'd got up before dawn and was just looking at this amazing dawn. Next door to me was a little, it was like a wall, a kind of herringbone wall, stone wall, and something caught my eye, and it was this tiny little wren that was hopping in and out of the wall. And for some reason, I mean, I didn't realise at that point in time how important the wren is in Druidry, but for some reason I just knew at that moment I needed to take the Obod course and just put the MA to one side. And here I am.
Here you are, isn't it? I know.
And I'm so glad I did that. You know, that little wren was like a little guide at that moment.
Little guide.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Ema's story, because I think Ema was at a crossroads trying to decide whether to do some professional training. I can't remember if it was a degree or it was some training within psychology, or the Obod course, you know. And of course the rational mind said, well, no, take like your rational mind said, take the MA, you know, because it's but she decided to go for the irrational choice, which was the Obod course, and she's so pleased she did, of course. So yes, that's absolutely lovely. And I think getting the right mix of just sufficient, because actually Druidry is in some ways it's really quite difficult to write about, precisely because what you said about it, you know, we all sort of make our own Druidry, or we're inspired by, but we don't have, you know, 10 commandments and a you know, and some people can find that quite disorienting, because one of the reasons that we look, I think, for a spiritual path is because we want to be held and we want to be, you know, guided. And so what we try to do, as you know, with the Obod course, is to guide people sort of gently, but very loosely in another way as well, to really empower people to go in whichever direction that they want to.
And I think it's quite natural when you're at the start of a path to want that structure, you know, and want that guidance. But the thing that I really love about Druidry is that obviously it is the lack of dogma, that you have that freedom to explore it in a way that really, really resonates for you wherever you are at any given moment. So I love the idea that, you know, I could explore deity in a way that I wanted to without, you know, there was no prescribed way. I mean, I was brought up a Christian. There's a very sort of prescribed way of seeing the divine, which is fine if that feels, you know, good for you. But for me, I was curious and I wanted to expand outside of those boundaries. And I love the idea, the thought that, you know, you don't even have to work with deity. You have a choice. And that's really appealing to me. And I suppose something I wanted to do in the book was just encourage people to have that confidence that, you know, you can, it's okay to make those decisions for yourself. And yes, if you want a little guidance and you want some structure, obviously it is there. But even I had to think, I mean, when I was sat down and thinking about, I was trying to think about, what are my Druid values? You know, I talk about the kind of values that we share, because obviously even though we, you know, there is no dogma and there are no rules, we do share kind of common values, don't we? And it was trying to think what they are. So that was quite an interesting exercise to do for myself. But yeah, that sense of freedom and knowing that, you know, there are many, it's like being in a forest, isn't it? And there are like loads of little meandering paths that you can go on, and it's okay. It doesn't matter if you get lost. It doesn't matter if the path was a bit of a dead end and you had to turn around and come back. It doesn't matter, because you have that freedom to do that. And I find that exciting. I love that about Druidry.
Exactly. And I think you've struck a really good balance between, you know, giving enough sort of signposts to help people get a real sense of what it is, but without boxing people. For instance, you were talking about you know, theology and deity, for instance. I'm not particularly into deities. You know, it doesn't sort of helped me, I find, as a concept. And I know that it does work for you. You and I have talked about this over time. And you know, you've got chapter 6, Ancient Shining Ones, Druid Theology. And I thought, oh, I wonder if I'm going to experience a bit of resistance to what Maria said here. But you managed to present it in a way that's completely sort of unthreatening. And, you know, here's something you can get into if this interests you, you know, and if it doesn't, keep going, you know. And that was lovely. And what I like too about the book is the way, well, I mean, it's sort of illustrated as well. So it's
pretty, isn't it? I was really pleased with the design. It's very
the design is lovely. And what you do as well is every so often you drop in to a little bit of practice. So you suggest that somebody does something, which is, again, as a way of giving people a taste, but again in a sort of non-threatening way, so that if you've given this book to your great aunt, who's a Roman Catholic, and is a bit worried about what Presbyterian or something, a bit worried about what their great grand niece is up to, you know, she is unlikely to be upset, I would say. But what you know, and you go through and you manage to cover all the 8 festivals as well.
I know.
That's quite an art in such a small book to cover each of the festivals and to drop into a little practice for each one and then come out again and go on to the next one.
It's interesting because in my own practice over the years, I mean, I think when I first started, I was really, you know, I would have ceremonies, I'd be really disciplined with it. And then after a while, I started to sort of, I don't know, crave really simple practices. So over the years, I've kind of had both. I've had, like, you know, the big ceremonies and sort of quite complicated and very sort of like intentional, and then slightly more spontaneous. So I thought I'd try to do a little bit of both in the book, just to say, you know, it isn't all about this. It can be about this. You know, you can celebrate the solstice just by going out and giving a prayer of gratitude to the sun. I mean, it's that simple. You mark it in the way that feels absolutely right for you in the moment. And because it is about, ultimately, I think Druidry and probably all earth-based spiritualities, the kind of aim is like that sense of relationship that you have with your environment, with yourself, with others, and I think it's everything, every practice that you have, the hope is that it opens you up to that sense of relationship. And so if you're doing a ritual and you're not really feeling that, then that's not the right thing for you at that moment. You know, maybe doing something else might be more appropriate and make you feel more connected. Because I think it is that connection that we all...
It is, isn't it? There'll be people who... Exactly. People who want a contemplative approach, who find too much ritual just distracting. And then for people who really work with ritual and like it, contemplative approach is too minimalist, too sort of empty for them, as it were. You know, and you know, and then everything in between. You know. Well, I believe you've prepared a meditation for us. Why don't we so that you can experience how Maria works with Druidry and with the symbology of it and so on. Let's drop into a meditation now. Yeah.
Right. This is just a little meditation that's based on the autumn equinox entry in the book. It's a little expanded version of it. So if we'd like just to settle ourselves, allow our bodies to feel comfortable, allow our breathing to settle. If you'd like to, you could take in 2 or 3 deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose and then breathe out through your mouth. And when you breathe out, any tensions in your body, any distractions from your day, any tightness in maybe your emotions, just let them flow out through those outward breaths. And as you breathe and as you settle, start to feel yourself in the grove. Feel the presence of your companions. Feel the love they bring to this space. Feel the peace of this space. Now, open your inner eyes and see, sense, or feel that you are stood on a beautiful sandy beach. Before you is the ocean, and you sense or see or feel all the beautiful colours, the greens and the blues. And you see that the water is clear and calm. Above you is the sky. It's full of the vibrant colours of sunset, all the blues and pinks and violets and yellows. And behind you is a beautiful white chalk cliff, and its vast surface reflects the warm pinks of the sunset. Take a moment or two to really feel yourself present in this space. You have come to this magical place where earth, sea, and sky meet. It's a place of balance. It's a place of belonging. And it's a place of deep connection. You feel yourself grounded upon the earth, the weight of gravity keeping you rooted and secure. But you also feel a lightness, the lightness of your being opening to the sacred within you and all about you. As you stand, you hear the ebb and flow of the ocean, the waves breaking on the shore, and it sounds to you in that moment like the inhale and the exhale of your own breath. And it also sounds to you like the inhale and the exhale of the breath of the earth. And in this place, in this sacred place, they are one breath. So spend a little while breathing in and breathing out, breathing with the ocean, breathing with the sky, breathing with the earth. On the sand before you, you notice a spiral. This spiral is made of beautiful, large, smooth pebbles. And you know just instinctively in this moment that this spiral is your journey inward to the source. If it feels right for you, walk to the edge of the spiral and slowly and mindfully walk its curved edge. Walk round and around until you reach the center. And as you walk, feel yourself really moving to the deep source within you. This is a journey into yourself, into that still place within you. When you reach the center, sit and take a moment again to breathe. Breathe with the earth. Breathe with the ocean. Breathe with the sky. Now looking down on the sand before you, you see, sense or feel 3 objects. The first of these objects is an apple. You might like to pick the apple up. You might like to hold it in your hands. You might like to see its color or sense its texture, feel its weight. This apple is your harvest, the abundance of your life. It is all the precious things life has gifted to you, and you have brought them to this special place deep within you to nourish you and sustain you through the winter months to come or through darker times. Take a while to notice any emotions or feelings or sensations that rise in you. Don't judge them, just be open to their messages. And now you notice a second object. And this object is a stone. You might like to sense, see, or feel its shape, its size, its texture, its color. This stone is your strength and resilience, born from your challenges in life, born from all those times where you struggled and you survived. You bring this strength and resilience with you as support and protection through the winter months to come, through the darker days. Again, just take a little moment to notice any feelings, notice any images or sensations. And now you notice the third object. Now this object is your own special gift. It's absolutely unique to you. You might like to take a moment just to see, sense, or feel what this object is and what it symbolizes to you. But know that this object is your own special resource to take with you into the coming winter and into the darker days. Again, take a while to feel your emotion, your thoughts, your sensations. Gather up your 3 gifts and hold them to your heart. Feel them gradually dissolving into your heart space. Feel the warm glow of them filling your heart, filling your whole being. Feel them nourishing you, sustaining you, protecting you, and keeping you safe. Know that you can draw on these gifts whenever you need to. And if it feels right, give a short prayer of thanks for your gifts. It's now time to leave this sacred space. But before you do, look up to the sky. The sun has now set and the stars are beginning to shine. You see, sense or feel the growing darkness enfold you like a protective blanket. Its embrace offers you a place of rest and reflection. Welcome the dark and feel your trust in the seasons turning and the wisdom that each season brings us. And once more, before you leave this special place, take a breath with the earth. Take a breath with the ocean. Take a breath with the sky. Now begin to let the beach and the spiral just slowly fade. Start to feel yourself fully present in your body, fully present in the room. And when you feel ready, gently open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Maria. That was very, very lovely, very deep. Wonderful. Lovely. Thank you so much for coming on the tea.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you so much for writing this lovely book. And I'll put a link on the in the blurb underneath. People.
Thank you. No, thank you for asking me. It's been really nice to be here.
Pleasure. Lots of love to you and to everybody. Thank you for watching this Tea with a Druid, and we look forward to seeing you again in a week's time. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.